Sounds like your phone hasn't changed in years. Maybe it's time to change your phone.
If they running their mouth, then they looking for trouble. Ran right up in the knowledge, now they back in the huddle. See, they know we can fight, new content every week. Me and Dr. Clyde, keep on bringing the heat. Now they know that we driven, and they know we quitting. Yoshi and the winner, keep on bringing the energy. Unity. See, they know we ain't stopping, and they know they got problems, and they ran out of options. If you know got a problem, can't let it go unsolved. Bring back learning, Afrocentric history, we see tomorrow. Karma is karma, I say what I say out here in the water. Till I see I fall off, then I bring y'all up on note. I'm back up on my Clyde winners, 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 Divine Winters, Clyde Winters, Mind Bender, Clyde Winters, I'm Richard, Brian Richard, Master Teacher, Create Masters, Clyde Winters, give respect to the elder, Clyde Winters. I know somebody out there looking for me. I told you somebody out there looking for me. I think there's somebody out there looking for me. I think there's somebody out there looking for me.
We have to live by God. We have to live by God. I have not done wrong. I have not robbed. I have not stolen. I have not drained. I have not told lies. I have not stolen food. I was not stolen. I have not fornicated with the fornicator. I have not caused anyone to weep. I have not dissembled. I have not transgressed. I have not discussed secrets. I have brought no lawsuits. I am not wrong. I am not struck kill. I am not transgressed the law. I have not been hunted. Except when I'm talking about Uncle Tom. I have not made extolling. I have not bragged. I have not cursed. I have not been violent. I have not confounded truth. I have not been impatient. I have not cursed again.
Dr. Winter's legacy is a testament to the power of knowledge and the unyielding spirit of exploration. His impact is felt worldwide, as he shares and enlightens at conferences, symposiums, and collaborative projects. His voice is a beacon in the academic world, challenging, inspiring, and always educating. His journey reminds us that the quest for knowledge is never-ending, and its impact is timeless. Dr. Winters teaches us to challenge the narratives and to learn with an open mind. As he always says, B1 is not a group, it's a lineage. Let his story inspire everybody to pursue knowledge relentlessly and to always seek the truth. Now let us welcome in the grandfather of research, the Trill OG himself, the Honorable Dr. Clyde Winters.
What up, though? What up, though? What up, though? Hey, you know what day it is? It's the fourth day of the week. It's Thursday. Yeah, it's Thursday. And what do we do on Thursday? On Thursday we have Black History Gems. Yes, yes, yes. We have Black History Gems. Today, today I'm going to share with you a new aspect of our history. As you know, every Thursday I come to you on Black History Gems to talk to you about a historical subject relating to our history, because our history is rich. Our history is full of, our history is so full, our history is so magnificent. And I know people get mad at me, but we're the supermen of today. Yes, we're the supermen of today. Foundational Black Americans, because of the fact, in a sense, that God has gifted us with so much creativeness. God has gifted us with a culture that's rich in invention, a culture that's rich in trying to share, knowledge and power to the rest of the world, that we have so much to offer to the world. And this has come from the fact that our history is such. And today I want to talk about some of our linguistic history. Yes, yes, yes. Our linguistic history, that aspect of our history that makes us unique. That is what I want to talk about. Today we're going to talk about the history. You guys, in a sense, may find it interesting that, I've written a book that deals with understanding the historical linguistics or comparative linguistics. I love historical or comparative linguistics because this is how I really came into really discussing many aspects of Black history. I really came into discussing many aspects of Black history based upon my research into linguistics. Because back in the day, I noticed that there was a relationship between Sumerian, Elamite, and the Mandingo language, and then in a sense, I started seeing it that because I saw this family relationship, which in linguistics is called genetic linguistics, then I began, in a sense, to discuss this aspect of our history, this richness of our history. And so then by me discussing this aspect of our history, or comparative linguistics, I began, in a sense, to really look into the relationships. You guys who may have an interest in studying linguistics, and Diopian, because Diop, our great master historian, our great master of Black history, ancient history, he had a way that he used, in a sense, linguistics. Yes, Diop did study linguistics, and that's why, in a sense, I mastered the use of comparative linguistics to discuss our history. Historical linguistics seeks to describe the way languages change or maintain their structure over a period of time. The present state of a language is its synchronic state. So how we speak the language today, how I'm talking to you, this is a synchronic state of the language because it's the present state of the language. A transition from one state to the next is called the diachronic state of a language. Yes, yes, yes. It's called the diachronic state of a language. Comparative linguistics is that branch of linguistics which discloses and studies similarities and differences between related languages. The objective of the comparative linguist is to isolate words with common or similar meaning, yes, 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 that have systematic consonantal, the consonants, we're looking at the consonant, systematic consonantal agreement with little regard for the location of the vowels. Consonantal agreement is the regular appearance of consonants at certain locations in words, having similar meanings and representing similar sounds. Key comparative linguistic terms. When we're looking at linguistics, some of the terms that you should become familiar with is phonology. Phonology is the study of changes, transformations, modifications, etc., of phonemes or speech sounds. The socioderm, yes, the socioderm is the transitional unit in language change. And this results from the fact that language is communal property, i.e., language is the property of the social or ethnic group which speaks it. So this is what gives language, in a sense, its unique characteristics. It's what people use in terms of language to unify a people or a group. There are two types of relatedness between languages. There's a genetic relationship, and this means that a group of languages descend from a common ancestor. Next, we have what's called a typological relationship. A typological relationship means that languages have a few common structural similarities or features. The closeness of language depends on the number of rules, yes, the number of rules the languages have in common. So this is what we're looking at to see this type of relationship. A genetic relationship denotes a family relationship. It shows that there's descent from a common ancestor. And most importantly, it means in a sense that these languages share a number of grammatical rules and lexical forms. And because in a sense there's a family relationship, we might also say that there has to be an ethnic relationship. The comparative method is based upon two assumptions: the relatedness hypothesis and the regularity hypothesis. The relatedness hypothesis seeks to explain similarities between words. The regularity hypothesis assumes that sound changes are regular. For example, here we can look at the regularity theory when we look at V equals F in languages. And in English, we have the word five. In Dutch, we have inch. In German, we have fum. In Swedish, we have fim. All of these words relate to five. And then, in a sense, we can also see the regularity theory when we look at V equal F, when we look at English father, which become vader in Dutch, vader in German, and far in Swedish. Again, we see that comparative relationship. We see how that V equals F in these languages. Let's look for common cognitive terms that share common structural features. Here we have 4 different languages: English, Dravidian, Singhalese, and Manding. Mother, for example, in Dravidian is ama, ama. Whereas in Singhalese it's ama, min, and Manding is ma. And so if we compare these terms, we can assume that the proto-term, and proto in a sense simply means a possible term that may be the mother of all of these terms for ama, ama, amma, amma, min, ma, would be ma. For father, we have apin or abba. Then in Singhalese, we have ampa. In Singhalese, we also have baba. In Manding, we have ba. And so when we look at apin, abba, 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 ba, we can see that the proto-terms or the original mother term for father had to be ba or pa. Let's look at the word. Let's look at the word in a sense for grand. We have bira in Dravidian, bur in Singhalese, ba in Manding. Again, in a sense, this would in a sense mean that the proto-term would be bur. You see, because see, we really whenever we're looking at the relationship between words from a comparative perspective, what we're looking at is we're looking at the consonants, and we look at where the consonants are placed in a word, and the placement of these consonants allow us in a sense to be able to say that there's a family relationship. For example, let's look at the words cultivate. In Dravidian, we have be. In Singhalese, we have mbe. In Manding, we have be. So we can say the proto-term would be abbe. Boat in Dravidian is kulam. In Singhalese, the word for boat is go. In Manding, the word is kulu. So we can assume in a sense that the proto-term or the original term for this language, for this word boat in these 3 languages would have been cool. As you can see, language reveals much about a people's culture. Anthropologists have studied such topics as how different languages assign gender to words, shape the words in which people perceive the natural and supernatural worlds, and create or reinforce the visions of rank and status within societies. Yes. This is what we're looking for. This is why we study language. This gives us, in a sense, insight into the culture of a people, into their way of life. These signs read yo-yo. The translation of yo-yo is the vital spirit gives life to perfection. Here we have, in a sense, the term yo-yo. We see the yo-yo on a pillar that goes back over 10,000 years. And we also see the same symbols on an Aboriginal man. You see? See that it looks like a horseshoe, and then we see a single line, and then we see the horseshoe. These signs, in a sense, would be pronounced from the ancient language written by these ancient people, yo-yo. There are many Mandi words in English. These words may go back to the Anu Empire that used the Mandi language as a lingua franca. A lingua franca is a language that's a kind of joint language, or language in a sense that allow people to be able to see a relationship and be able to communicate with each other. And this goes back to the lingua franca of the Sioux dynasty, which I believe existed 4,000 years ago. And this language, this Sioux language, was spoken in a sense from 4,000 years ago all the way up to the Mali Empire in 1310 AD. We know in a sense that the original Americans, the original Americans we know were in a sense copper colored, you see. And we can find, when we look at this information, we can see that in relationship to this phenomena, we find in a sense that we arrive at this whole idea of the Aboriginal Americans as copper colored. You see, Baron LaFontaine in his book New Voyages to North America, edited by Reverend Gold Thadwater, wrote, "All the savages are of a sanguine constitution, inclining to an olive color, and generally speaking, they have good faces and proper persons. It's a great rarity to find any among them that are lame, hunchbacked, one-eyed, blind, or dumb. Their eyes are large and black as well as their hair. Their teeth are white like ivory, and the breath that springs from their mouth and expiration is as pure as the air that they suck in inspiration. Notwithstanding, they eat no bread, which these that are mistaken in Europe in fancying that the eating of bread, of meat without bread, makes one breath stink. No, we find a sense that, listen to what they're talking about. They're talking about the Aboriginal Americans, the copper-colored people. They're talking about in a sense that there was perfection in terms of trying to look at these people. This is what they said about our ancestors. Come on now. This is what they said. There's many words we find in a sense that was spoken in the African words that was spoken in many languages. For example, we find that the Aztecs, in a sense, they seem to have had place names that go back to the Mandi language. The Mandi people influenced many languages in the Americas, especially Nahuatl and the Peruvian languages. The Aztecs said that they were Mandingos. Mandi, yes, read it, it's there. All you have to do is read the original documents. Many of the words collected by Las Casas, a friend of Columbus, relate to the Indian cultures. Let's look at these Indian, English, and Mandi words. Kachik, chief. Kutingi, Kuntigi, Kanda, gold, Kani, Koniko, farm, Kuki. And see, so we find in a sense in Mexico, we find many words such as tangleman for trader, seen as tianguisman in Mexico, and Aztec tianguis for market. Guanim, gold from the word guani. Leovina says the word banana of the Aztec is of Mandi origin. Yes, that's the word banana. According to Leo Weiner, is of Mandi origin. Along with the words for tobacco, taba, tawa, and tame, the Peruvian word for tobacco, sacri, comes from the word cedar, or snuff. We find in a sense that there was a tribe in North America called the Nanaco. Daniel C. Britton, he noted in a sense in his article on supposed words shown to be of African origin in the journal of in the American Antiquarian Oriental Journal, 1877, he copied down some words from the Nanaco language. And when you look at the list of these words, look at the Nanaco, Kuli, Kali, Ningiri. We see in a sense that the Nanaco words, and in a sense the words of the Mandi are the same in a sense. Yes. This was speculation on Brennan's part because he acts as if Farris would have been unfamiliar with the Indians where he lived. Also, because the Nanacokes were very dark, Britain, due to the emphasis on blacks being mainly slaves, just assumed that the Nanaco could not be Indian since they were dark-skinned. Although this is Dr. Britton's opinion, there are a number of historical events relating to the Nanacoke. The Nanacoke and Mandy. Prior lists collected the numerals in 1741. This was 50 years before Murray collected his vocabulary of the Nanacoke language. By this time, the Nanacoke had been separated. They originally lived in Delaware. Here's a comparison of the words of the Nanacoke and also Mandingo, and just take a look at that. And you can see that these words are surprisingly so similar. Yes. This means, in a sense, that the Nanacoke people spoke a Mandingo language. Take a minute and look at those words. By this time, most Nanacoke had moved to Wyoming, Pennsylvania, Delaware, and even New York. Because the Nanacoke fought with the British during the Revolutionary War, many were resettled in Canada. Mrs. Mulberry lived along the Choptank River as a result of the Revolutionary War and European encroachment of Nanacoke land. The Nanacoke had joined the Lenape tribe. It is obvious from this word list and numerals collected by Murray in 1792, many Nanacoke were mainly speaking Lenape. This would explain the similarity between the Murray Nanacoke numerals and the Lenape numerals. Again, here we can see it. Here's the Nanacoke or Lenape of today. And again, in a sense, look at that striking similarity between the Mandingo numerals and, in a sense, those of the Nanacoke. Take a minute and look at that. It's very interesting. Historian Robert Beverly Jr., in his History and Present State of Virginia, wrote that the Occaneechi language was widely used as a lingua franca. I quote, understood by the chief men of many nations, as Latin is in many parts of Europe. Even though, he says, the Occaneechi have been but a small nation, ever since these parts were known to the English. Beverly said that the priests and conjurers of the other Virginia tribes performed their adorations and conjurations in this general language, much as the Catholics of all nations do their Mass in Latin. Linguistic scholars believe that the Occaneechi spoke a dialect of the Sion language, Tutelo. The Manicans lived in Virginia, in the Roanoke River Valley. They mined copper and grew 3 sisters, beans, corn, and squash. The Manican tribe belonged to the Iroquois Confederacy. Corrine Wood, a researcher, claims to belong to the Manican tribe, which died out in the 1880s. Yeah. She claims that the Manican language is related to Tutelo. This suggests that Occaneechi language was a Mandi language. Let's look at some of the Tutelo in English, Tutelo and Mandi words. Here we have Sabe, which means black, which corresponds to the Mandi word Safe. In Tutelo, we have Api, good and pure. And in Mandi, we have P. The word for father in Tutelo was Ati. The word for father in Mandi was Ki. The word for dead in Tutelo was Te. The word for dead in Mandi was Te. The word in Tutelo to eat was Luti. The word in Mandi to eat is Dumu. In Tutelo, the word for foot is Isi. The word for foot in Mandi is Si. In Tutelo, the word for tooth is Ihai. In Mandi, we see the word Hai. If you notice, in a sense, in many of the vowels, like Ise, Ihai, Itan, we find in a sense that they put in a sense the I sound before the word. So that shows in a sense how, in a sense, these words of the Mandi language were lexicalized in the Tutelo language. Very interesting. Just take a minute to look at that. It is quite striking to see, in a sense, that just to imagine that the so-called Monicans, or Manicans of Virginia, they were speaking a Mandi language. I mean, it is so surprising that we find, in a sense, that there were many languages, many African languages that continued to be spoken in the Americas by the time Europeans had arrived on this continent. The Mandi words, and there's other Mandi words and other words in the Gullah dialect. Many of the enslaved people in the United States were of the Mandi origin. The possible origin of Mandy loanwords into English probably took place during the period of slave nurses who would tend to their masters' children, who in turn would have lexicalized such Mandy words as mommy, grandmother, papa, old man, and mama, mother, nana, breast, or mom into their lexicon. It is important to remember that foundational Black Americans are an exceptional people. The FBA people of the United States are descendants of the Black Native Americans, and former chattel slaves are the oldest living ethnic group in the history of the United States. This results from the fact that our FBA ancestors, having lived in the United States prior to the founding of the USA and writing of the US Constitution, allowed them, in a sense, to be the foundation of the present Black population. Writing has always been a part of the cultural resources of Black and African people. The Anu left many ancient inscriptions in North America. The Malian explorers, yes, the people from the ancient civilization of Mali. Well, it was not ancient, it's a medieval civilization. But the Malian explorers have left numerous inscriptions along the shores, rivers, and lakes to tell the people in North America of the best habitation sites. Here are some examples we see of artifacts from the here we see artifacts from the Maun culture and the American and the Maun cultures in Africa. Look at how they had that common rising of the knee and the placement of the knee on the the placement of the hand on the knee and the placement of the hand on the thigh. We find, in a sense, that on many of the statues from Brazil, we find writing that is identical to other Mandy writings in Africa. Yes, yes, yes. It is so much evidence that it is just so striking to see this relationship between these cultures. Again, here we can see some symbols that are found on many of the various artifacts that have resulted from excavation of tombs. And here on the other side, you can see a list. You know, if you come back, you know, I'm going through this now, but when you get a chance, you may want to come back. And you may, in a sense, want to look at this sheet that gives a definition of many of the letters that you find on these inscriptions from North America. Then you too can read them. Yes, 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 yes. There's a vocabulary on the left-hand side that allows you to read the symbols on these inscribed artifacts found in many of the mounds. Yes, found in many of the mounds in North America. Many Eastern Seaboard Native Americans spoke the Mandy language like the Nanaco, and Sequoyah used the Bi-script to invent Cherokee writing. You know, and it's interesting when you look at this picture of Sequoyah, he's even wearing a turban like Africans. So is it any wonder, in a sense, that we see how these Mandy writing system, the Mandy words or lexical items, along with the writing system that was used by the ancient Mandy, appears among the Nanaco in America and even Sequoyah. Look at how Sequoyah wore that turban, just like Muslims do in his day. There's also many words we find that the Wolof have many ancestral roots. We find that many of the earliest people that was in the Americas, yes, spoke the Wolof language. Yes, yes, yes. There were many Wolof words in many of the American Indian languages. Here you can see examples of some of these words. Take a minute and you can look over them. It's what's also interesting. FBA English has African substratums in Niger-Congo historical grammar, and this is proven by Turner and Geneva Smitherman, who did research into the various words in the American lexicon of Black people. Yes, yes, yes. So we find, in a sense, that although in a sense we have in a sense Black people in America who in a sense are using the English vocabulary, we find in a sense that when you look at how we structure the words, how we speak the words, how we communicate with each other, it shows in a sense a Niger-Congo historical grammar. Yes, yes, a deep grammar, you know. In 2011, Quentin Atkinson argued that all the languages spoken today date back to a single mother tongue, an ancestral language spoken in Africa 50,000 to 70,000 years ago. Just think about that. They believe, in a sense, that this language was spoken 50 to 70,000 years ago of African origin. In the Egyptian language, I discuss the origin of many languages spoken in Africa. Egyptian language provides the linguistic evidence that confirms the hypothesis of Sheikh Anta El Hamburger and M. de la Fosse that the Niger-Congo speakers and Egyptians had a common origin. In this book, we argue that many Egyptians living in the 22 sapats of Upper Egypt spoke Niger-Congo languages, including the Bantu, Fulani, and Mandi languages. Get this book, Egyptian Language. Learn about those languages and why they're related. Yes. Any discussion of African language must be unacceptable without discussion of the African origin of American Vernacular Black English, VBE. Many social linguists believe that VBE is derived from a Creole language spoken in the Deep South before emancipation. Social linguists that adhere to this view believe that VBE is derived from an earlier British dialect. Other linguists believe that VBE is really the result of the social isolation of African Americans during slavery, which forced them to learn English words, but allowed them to live in communities separated from standard American English speakers. This separation of the Euro-Americans generally and African American slaves made it possible for an African deep structure to remain constant among the people. We call this African American language Ebonics. The research indicates that many Afro-Americans speak Ebonics. Ebonics speakers use an African morphology and syntax analogous to that found among Niger-Congo people speaking in West Africa and an English vocabulary. As a result, these foundational Black Americans have a different orthography, phonetic system, and deep grammatical structure from standard American English, SAE. This causes manifold Ebonics speakers to have difficulty grasping the correct standard American English phonemes represented by its symbols and reading in general. This failure to match Ebonics and SAE interferes with the development of reading fluency among some speakers of standard American English. Yes. To me, in a sense, if you really want Black people to be really proficient and really scholars, they should be taught English as a second language because, the English that we speak, the way we construct it, is not, in a sense, standard American English. So teach it. During the slave trade, African slaves were brought to America from West Africa. In this area, people speak the Niger-Congo languages. During much of the slavery period, African slaves were usually isolated from white Americans. But it's believed that the English spoken in the South and West counties of Britain may have been the motto of English acquired by the slaves in Virginia. Years of social separation of African Americans and whites, first during slavery and later during the segregation, led to a continuity of Niger-Congo linguistic features among many African Americans. Traditionally, Ebonics is seen as a form of SAE with a transformed phonology or surface structure pursuant to the transformational theory of linguistics developed by Chomsky. Ebonics has evidence of Niger-Congo influence in grammatical features, vocabulary survivals, consonant clustering avoidance, and absent phonics. In Ebonics, the word dig is used to mean understand. This corresponds to the Wolof word dega, to understand. You dig? For example, let's compare sentences. Do you understand in English? Do you dig Black talk? Wolof, daga nga Wolof. Do you dig Black talk, brother? Wolof, daga nga Wolof. In African languages, to acknowledge that everything is all right, you would say, wow, along with the emphatic particle K. This would be pronounced okay. This corresponds to the American use of the phrase okay to signify all right or certainty. Do you see? See, there is a relationship. And you can see, in a sense, how we have this unique language. Even though people want to claim that foundational Black Americans, because we speak English, then we can't have a unique culture. As you can see, we speak English, but it's an English that is unique to us as foundational Black Americans. It's Ebonics, baby. but Ebonics speakers use an African morphology and syntax with an English vocabulary as observed above. As a result, Ebonics and Standard American English are mutually intelligible, but like German and Norwegian, they are distinct languages. The pronunciation of Ebonic words show Niger-Congo influence in two broad categories. One, consonant clustering avoidance, and two, absent phonics. Both Niger-Congo and Ebonic speakers avoid the pronunciation of consonant clusters. There's the R-lessness. For example, when we say fort, instead of saying fort, we say, hey, let's get to the fort. Instead of saying car, we say, come and get in my car. There's a weakness in the final consonants. It's cold outside. Instead of saying it's cold outside, we say it's cold. Instead of saying, oh, I'm tired, I got to get me some rest, we say, I'm going to get rest. Instead of saying, I want to plant some seed, we'll say, let's plant some seed. Instead of saying, this is a fact, we'll say, hey, this is a fact. You see it? See, in a sense, there's a weakness in that final consonant. This shows, in a sense, how African American vernacular English, in a sense, has that relationship back to Africa. There's substitution of the voices, the sound. Instead of saying the, we say duh. Instead of saying these, we say these. There's alternation of the and the fuh. For example, instead of saying, I'm going to hit you in the mouth, we say, I'm going to hit you in the mouth. Say, what's your birthday? We say, what's your birthday? Do you see it? There's also supramental forward stress. For example, I'm going to call the police. I live in Detroit. See? These features, again, show how African American English is different from, the English spoken by white folks. The language of the grassroots and how we learned a lot, in a sense, doing, through proverbs and folktales. These proverbs and folktales, they taught us ethics, critical thinking, and problem solving. All that glitters is not gold. For example, some of the FBA wisdom talk. One monkey don't stop no show. Black people must stop acting like crabs in a barrel and work together. A hard head makes a sore behind. Burning the candle at both ends. If you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. Count your blessings, not your problems. Don't beat a dead dog. Do or die. God does not bless mess. Life is short and full of blisters. A hit dog will hollow. Knock on wood. A stitch in time saves 9. Mama baby, Papa maybe. The Aboriginal FBA origins of mother language and grassroots learning goes back to Br'er Rabbit tales. For example, Br'er Rabbit is a central figure in the oral tradition of foundational Black Americans. It is based on Aboriginal foundational Black Americans. Aboriginals took the tradition to the Caribbean, notably the Bahamas. These tales were used to teach children wisdom. By teaching them how we use common sense and wits to overcome the trauma of racism, fight white supremacy, and methods to effect revenge on our enemies, the settler or slave owners. For example, this is this tale about Br'er Rabbit. Br'er Rabbit treats the creatures to a race. One Sunday day, while the little boy was playing not far from Uncle Ramus's cabin, a heavy black cloud made its appearance in the west and quickly obscured the sky. It sent a brisk gale before it, as if to clear the path of leaves and dust. Presently there was a blinding flash of lightning, a snap and a crash, and with that the child took to his heels and ran to Uncle Remus, who was standing in his door. Down now, he exclaimed before the echoes of the thunder had rolled away. That dust ain't wind and rain. Puts me in mind of the time when Br'er Rabbit got up a big race for the pleasure of the other creatures. It was the most funniest race you ever hear tell on. Br'er Rabbit went way off in the woods when he come to the rainmaker's house. He knocked and went in, and he asked the rainmaker if he can fix him up so they can have a race between Br'er Dust and Cousin Rain. For their seed it can run the fastest. The rainmaker growled and jawed, but blimey he agreed. But they that of 'twas anybody but Br'er Rabbit he wouldn't get but one thumb. Well, they fixed the day. Brer Rabbit put on the War of the Creatures, was staying at and told of the news. The Donna, how Brer Rabbit now, but they all wanted to see the race. Now here I am, the rainmaker, had fixed him up that the race would be right down the middle of the railroad. And the day came. That's where he was made his creatures stand. Brer Bear at the bend of the road, Brer Wolf at the little further off, and Brer Fox at the pint. What to cross the roads was Brer Coon and Brer Possum and the others. He scattered out down the road. Tell them what has them to wait. It seems like the sun's stopping and the clouds wearing them. Brer Bear done some growling, Brer Wolf some howling, and Brer Possum some laughing. But after a while, they could come for summers. Twice was a big cloud, but Brer Rabbit knowed that Cousin Rain was in there. Long Wind, Uncle Wind. And the gentlemen in the race begun for the Cummins. Uncle Wind hipped up before he had his bellows wide, and he blowed it. Brer Dust got up from what he was a-laying, and he come down the road, which was a whirling. He's taking old Brer Bear first, then Brer Wolf, and then Brer Fox, and all the others, that all the other creatures, and coming mighty nigh, sniffing. Not never in all your born days is you ever seen such clogging and sneezing, such snorting and wheezing. And they all looked like they was painted red. Brer Bear sneezed so hard that he hotted lay down on the road. And Brer Dust come mighty nigh, burying him as friends the same to yonder creature. Them got them noses and them fools. Yes. It'll make them mad. That all put out at him, and they try to level beats to catch. But this was anything to run world, the bear. Rabbit got it. It's snoozing, it's souping foots, and twice no time for the other creatures. Can't see hair and hide. All them. Same Brer Rabbit ain't bargained for have two races in the same day. Yes. But Uncle Raymond said, the little boy which beat Brother Dust or Cousin Rain, the old man stirred uneasily in his chair and rubbed his chin with his hand. They tells me, he responded cautiously, that when Cousin Rain can't see nothing and Brother Dust, he thought he hadn't beat him. But he hollered out, Brother Dust, whereabouts is you? And Brother Dust, he hollered back, you had the snooze in me. I fell down in the mud and can't run no more. Yes. Brother Dust fell down in the road. He couldn't run no more. In conclusion, Ebonics is not just a dialect of English. It's a different speech, analogous to African languages in structure and some vocabulary. This genetically encoded linguistic principle was reinforced in the African community as a result of the social isolation of many African Americans and Euro-Americans in slavery. This isolation of blacks allowed environmental stimuli to trigger and reinforce Niger-Congo syntactical patterns among Ebonic speakers. The standard American English pattern would probably have erased Niger-Congo grammatical structures if African Americans and Euro-Americans would have been fully assimilated rather than live in separate worlds in the same community. Yes. Given the information outlined above, Ebonics is a foreign language, and under federal law, bilingual education will be provided to Ebonic speakers. The allocation of federal dollars to support standard American English instruction among African Americans may enable many more Ebonic speakers to not only finally learn standard American English, and many of them to reinforce better academically in school. Yes, they could read better if our children were taught English as a second language. This linguistic reality makes it clear that some speakers of Ebonics might be prone to reading difficulties because of the syntactical differences between Ebonics and standard American English. At the deep structural level, this view is supported by the research of Bratz and Lebov. This suggests that African American children could benefit from learning English as a second language. The teaching of English as a second language would help African Americans become better learners by learning standard American English rather than assuming that Ebonics is just a non-standard English. We need more researchers, and this is why we need it. We need it so that people can know more about who and what we are, and they can move forward. But this is because, in a sense, we do have our unique language, and we do have a language in a sense that sets us apart. But studying Black history is not to find out how great you were. It is to find out what mistakes were made. It's time that we learn and knowing your history will reinvigorate your mind and spirit. To Wilson, we should see history as psychohistory, since the aim of writing Black people out of history is to destroy any sense of intellectual, social, self-esteem for African American people. Wilson noted that in the final analysis, European history's principal function is to separate us from ourselves and separate us from the reality of the world, to separate us from reality of our history, and to separate us from the ramifications of that history. Black history matters. History situates your place in society. History tells you who you are. History promotes or discourages self-esteem. The FBA that knows their history cultivates self-esteem and is motivated to seek success. Yes. Know who you are. You see, the 2021 USA election and the 2024 US election show whites feel knowledge of Black history promotes white inferiority. Whites feel in the sense that they have to hide our history because they don't want you to know. The way that you have to find out more about your history is through research. My Afrocentric research course allows you to know how, in a sense, to study our history. And real teachers teach, you see. Some of the works of my former students include the work, in a sense, by, Sister Shanice Lindsay. And Shanice has written two books. She's written 2 books. She's on her 3rd book now. And, Sister Shanice is someone whose work you should try to learn from. You see, join my Patreon to see the slides. After I complete this presentation, I'm going to put them on my Patreon. You can find me on Twitter at Clyde Winters 8. And come to my YouTube channel and look at more of my videos and buy my books at Amazon.com. B1 is acknowledging your black African ancestry and not heritage. B1. B1 is being Black first. B1, hug your nearest neighbor. Hug other Black people. Love yourself. Love your people. Know who you are, because it's through being B1, Black first, that you will find, in a sense, the truth, that you'll know who you are and where you are. Please join my Patreon. Go to my Patreon to see this slide program and other slide programs. You can find my books at Amazon.com. Yes, buy one of my books. Buy all 50 of my books. But go to Amazon.com, get my books. You can find my videos on YouTube. And, of course, in a sense, you can find me on Twitter at Dr. Clyde Winters 8. And these are some books that can help you learn more about foundational Black Americans and their language. That book is History of Blacks in America from Prehistory 1877. We Are Not Just Africans. And, of course, my book, African Historical Linguistics. These books will help you to study and know the languages spoken by Black people here. Get these books. Support my books. Support my research, because you too can be a researcher. Yes. You too can be a researcher, because all it takes is you wanting to know. All it takes is you wanting to share, because it's by sharing the knowledge, and it's by you, in a sense, seeking out the knowledge that allows us to be able to make sure that people understand and know our history. Because our history is the result of people, in a sense, wanting to do great things. You see, as I told you, foundational Black Americans are the supermen of today. We are in a sense the new Egyptians, in a sense that we've created so many beautiful things. And these beautiful things allow us to say that we are one people. Our identity and our culture as Black foundational Americans. Yes. Wars between Black Indians and whites were manufactured to produce Black slaves for whites. The English, the French, and the Dutch provided the Native Americans with guns, rum, and cheap goods to purchase Native American Indian slaves. Between 1670 and 1720, many Black Native Americans were enslaved. The black Native Americans were sold into slavery throughout the 13 colonies, Mississippi Valley, Canada, and the British West Indies. The majority of black Native Americans sold into slavery by whites and Indians. Slave traders were the Choctaw, the Yamasee, and other Carolina tribes. Yes, yes. Many of these tribes like the Mandi, Mandinga, many of these tribes, we've lost their names. And their names have been lost to history because of the fact, in a sense, that when the European came, as he conquered these black Indians, he just made them slaves. And so over time, in a sense, their nations disappeared. Over time, in a sense, their history wasn't recorded. Over time, they were even able to deny that Aboriginal blacks even existed in America. Buy these books, buy these books on our history. Buy these books that can help you to know more about our history. You can order these books at Amazon.com. Buy these books, learn and know who and what we are. They'll help you. They wanted to give our Aboriginal ancestors gifts. And the only problem with the gifts that they gave us was that often these blankets that they gave us carried smallpox. Yes, diseases. They also, in a sense, gave us another gift, rum, fire water. And this rum caused an addiction among us. In a sense, it led to a demand for guns because it incentivized Indian slave trading. Yes, the first slaves sold in America were Indians, black Indians, selling other black Indians to Europeans to work on their cotton, not on their cotton plantations, their tobacco plantations, their rice plantations. Yes, yes, yes. We sold each other over here, just like in Africa, because of the fact is that we failed to understand that we are one, we are one, we are one. We should be united. Reparations, baby, reparations. We deserve reparations. We deserve reparations like yesterday, not just today. No, not just today. We deserve our reparations. Give us our money, baby. Cut the check.
Cut the check, black first because it's brilliant. People talk too much. Say less, remain on code, follow the spirit. When the going gets tough, it's time for resilience. Cut the check, black first because it's brilliant. People talk too much. Say less, remain on code, follow the spirit. When the going gets tough, it's time for
As Sister Shanice makes it clear, if we don't learn from history, then we will continue to repeat the same mistakes over and over again. We have to stop it. We can't keep doing the same things. We can't keep, in a sense, following the same lies. We have to, in a sense, keep moving. We have to, in a sense, keep learning. We have to, in a sense, keep growing. Yes, yes, yes. It is only through our growth. It is only through our learning that we will be able, in a sense, to know and study our Black history, know and study who we are. Yes, yes, yes. We have to do this. The only thing that can save you is be one, be one, be one. To fight